Imagine this, an elderly black woman, someone's mother, someone's grandmother, humiliated on the street by a racist cop. Forced to her knees. Ordered to lick his boot. Now, picture her son, a trained military veteran, finding out, would he call the police? Would he trust the system, or would he take justice into his own hands? This is the story of Malik Johnson, a man who refused to let racism break his family. A man who turned the tables on those who thought they could abuse their power without consequences. A man who made them pay. But here's the real question for you: if this was your mother, your grandmother, what would you do? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories that need to be told. Comment below where in the world you are watching from. Now, sit back, because this one is personal. Imagine this, an elderly black woman, someone's mother, someone's grandmother, humiliated on the street by a racist cop. Forced to her knees. Ordered to lick his boot. Now, picture her son, a trained military veteran, finding out, would he call the police? Would he trust the system, or would he take justice into his own hands? This is the story of Malik Johnson, a man who refused to let racism break his family. A man who turned the tables on those who thought they could abuse their power without consequences. A man who made them pay. But here's the real question for you: if this was your mother, your grandmother, what would you do? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories that need to be told. Comment below where in the world you are watching from. Now, sit back, because this one is personal. The night air was thick with sirens. Red and blue lights flashed against the shattered windows of the corner store as more officers flooded the scene. Malik stood protectively in front of his mother, his knuckles bloodied, his heart pounding like a war drum. "Malik, we have to go," Ethel whispered, clutching his arm. He didn't move. His eyes remained locked on Officer Ray Dunham, who lay on the floor groaning in pain. The racist cop had always been a bully, but tonight, he had finally met someone who wouldn't bow. A second squad car screeched to a stop outside. 4 officers stepped out, weapons drawn. "Drop the gun. Hands on your head." Malik exhaled slowly. He could take them, if he wanted to. But that would mean putting his mother in danger, and he couldn't let that happen. He tossed the gun to the floor and raised his hands. "I'm unarmed. On your knees." One officer barked. Malik glanced at his mother. Tears streamed down her face. She had already been humiliated once tonight. He wasn't about to let her watch him be treated like an animal. "I said, on your knees." Before Malik could respond, Dunham staggered to his feet. "No, don't arrest him yet," he growled. The other officers hesitated. Dunham wiped the blood from his mouth, his face twisted with fury. "This punk assaulted a police officer. We're not taking him in just yet. We're gonna teach him a lesson first." Ethel gasped. "No, please, he didn't do anything wrong." Dunham sneered. "Shut up, old woman. Unless you want another taste of the floor." Malik's fists clenched, but he forced himself to stay still. He knew what they wanted, an excuse to kill him. "Take him out back," Dunham ordered. 2 officers grabbed Malik's arms and dragged him outside. Ethel screamed, trying to follow, but another cop held her back. "You stay right here, lady." The alley behind the store was dark and smelled of garbage. The moment they were out of sight from the street, the first blow landed, a baton cracking against Malik's ribs. He grunted but didn't fall. "Not so tough now, huh?" Dunham sneered. Throwing a punch into Malik's stomach, Malik staggered but remained standing. Another officer stepped in, swinging his baton toward Malik's legs. This time, he dropped to one knee. Dunham crouched down beside him. "You should have just let her lick my damn boot." Malik spat blood onto the pavement. "You should have just walked away." Dunham scowled. "You still got that mouth on you, huh?" He stood and signaled to his men. "Break him." The officers descended on him, fists and batons raining down like a storm. But Malik had endured worse. He had survived ambushes in enemy territory, hand-to-hand combat with insurgents who had nothing to lose. These men, they were cowards. He took the beating without a sound. And then, the moment came. An officer got too close, overconfident. In an instant, Malik grabbed his wrist, twisted it violently, and snapped the baton from his grip. Before anyone could react, he drove an elbow into the man's jaw, knocking him unconscious. Dunham cursed. Shoot him. The other officers hesitated, and that hesitation was all Malik needed. He lunged, sweeping another officer's legs out from under him. With the stolen baton, he struck fast and hard, ribs, knees, throats. Within seconds, 2 more officers were down. The last cop standing fumbled for his gun. Malik didn't give him the chance. He closed the distance, twisted the weapon from the officer's hands, and pistol-whipped him across the face. The cop collapsed with a groan, and then, only Dunham remained. The racist cop backed away, hand trembling over his holster. Malik leveled the stolen gun at him. Dunham chuckled nervously. "What, you gonna shoot me? That'll only prove you're an animal." Malik's finger hovered over the trigger. He could do it. He wanted to do it, but then he heard his mother's voice, "Malik." He turned. Ethel stood at the entrance of the alley, horror on her face. "Please, son. Don't." Malik's breathing was ragged. His body ached, his blood boiled, but when he looked at his mother, he saw what was at stake. He lowered the gun. Dunham smirked. "Yeah, that's what I thought." Malik moved like lightning. Before Dunham could react, Malik delivered a devastating punch to his face, sending him sprawling into the filth of the alley. Dunham groaned, clutching his jaw. Malik crouched beside him. "Next time you even think about touching my mother, I won't stop." Dunham's eyes burned with hatred, but for the first time, there was also something else, fear. Malik tossed the gun aside, took his mother's hand, and walked away, but he knew this wasn't over, not yet. The night had settled heavily over Jackson, Mississippi, but the city was far from asleep. Somewhere, deep in the underbelly of law enforcement, a storm was brewing. Malik and Ethel moved quickly through the narrow streets, Malik's sharp eyes scanning for any sign of pursuit. The pain in his ribs from the beating was severe, but adrenaline kept him upright. His mother clung to his arm, her steps slow but determined. "We need to get you somewhere safe," he murmured. Ethel shook her head. "Boy, I don't care what happens to me. You're the one they're hunting." She was right. He had humiliated Officer Ray Dunham in front of his men. There was no way they would let that slide. Malik led her down a side alley toward an old friend's house. Marcus Tate had been one of his closest brothers in arms during his tours overseas. If anyone could provide a safe place, it was him. They reached a rundown apartment complex on the east side of town. Malik knocked twice on a door marked 3B. Seconds later, the door swung open, and a massive man with deep brown skin and a trimmed beard stepped into view. Marcus's expression hardened as he took in the sight of Malik's injuries and the fear in Ethel's eyes. "Damn," Marcus muttered. "Come in." They slipped inside. The apartment was small but clean, with weapons and tactical gear stacked neatly in a corner. Marcus was a man always prepared for war. "You good?" Marcus asked, offering Malik a seat. Malik shook his head. "I need your help." Marcus listened as Malik explained what had happened at the store. When he was finished, Marcus sighed and leaned back in his chair. "They're gonna come for you," Marcus said. "Hell, they might already be on their way." Ethel clutched her son's arm. "We can't stay here long." Marcus nodded. "I got a place outside town. Safe house. But we need to move fast." Before Malik could respond, a police scanner on Marcus's table crackled to life. "All units be advised. Suspect Malik Johnson is armed and dangerous. Orders are shoot to kill." Ethel gasped. "Shoot to kill?" Marcus clenched his jaw. "They ain't bringing you in, brother. They're making sure you don't walk out alive." Malik's eyes darkened. "Then we better move now." Marcus grabbed a duffel bag full of weapons and tossed Malik a pistol. "You remember how to use one of these?" Malik smirked, checking the magazine. "I never forgot." Boom, the apartment door exploded inward as a flashbang grenade rolled across the floor. "Down." Marcus shouted. Malik grabbed his mother and shielded her with his body just as the room filled with blinding light and deafening sound. Through the haze, figures stormed inside, tactical gear, shotguns, and cold-blooded intent. Cops. Dunham wasn't playing around. Marcus was the first to react. He pulled a shotgun from beneath the couch and fired a blast into the first officer's chest. Sending him crashing into the wall, Malik's training took over. He rolled off his mother, raised his pistol, and squeezed the trigger. A cop dropped, his weapon clattering to the ground. Bullets ripped through the apartment, shattering windows and tearing into furniture. Malik grabbed Ethel and dragged her toward the kitchen. "We're pinned." Marcus shouted, reloading. Malik peeked around the corner. 5 more officers. Heavy weapons. They weren't trying to arrest them, they were here to execute them. Malik made a decision. "Marcus, cover us. I'm getting my mother out." Marcus nodded and unloaded another shotgun blast, forcing the cops to take cover. Malik pulled Ethel toward the back door, kicking it open. Cold night air rushed in. "Go, Ma. Move." Ethel ran as fast as she could, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Malik followed, his head on a swivel. Then, a voice rang out, "Stop, or I shoot her." Malik froze. He turned slowly, his heart hammering. Dunham stood in the doorway, his gun pressed against Marcus's head. The massive veteran was bloodied, breathing hard, but still glaring with pure defiance. Dunham grinned. "Thought you could run? Thought you could get away?" Malik's fingers tightened around his pistol. Dunham smirked. "Drop it, soldier. You move, I blow your buddy's brains out." Ethel clutched Malik's arm. "Please, son." Malik weighed his options. Then Marcus did something unexpected. He laughed. Dunham scowled. "What's so damn funny?" Marcus grinned through the blood on his lips. "You forgot one thing." Dunham frowned. "And what's that?" Marcus chuckled. "You never checked the windows." Before Dunham could react, a sniper round shattered the air. Crack, the bullet tore through one of the officers behind Dunham, dropping him instantly. Panic spread through the remaining cops. Malik seized the moment. He fired twice. Bang. Bang, hitting another officer in the shoulder. Marcus slammed his elbow into Dunham's gut, knocking the gun loose. Then all hell broke loose. Malik and Marcus fought like warriors, taking down cops with ruthless precision. A gunfight erupted in the alley, bullets ripping through the night. Malik ducked behind a dumpster and reloaded. "Who's our guardian angel?" Marcus grinned. "Old war buddy. Owes me a favor." Another sniper shot cracked through the darkness, hitting a third officer. Dunham, bleeding from his mouth, scrambled to his feet. He was panicking now. Malik saw it. He could end it. Right here. He aimed his gun, but Dunham was already running. Malik cursed and took off after him. The chase was on. Dunham ran like a man possessed, his boots slamming against the pavement as he weaved through the backstreets of Jackson. Blood dripped from his split lip, and panic flared in his eyes. Malik was right behind him, every muscle in his body burned, but he ignored the pain. He had spent years chasing enemy combatants through war zones, tracking men who had no fear of death. Compared to them, Dunham was nothing but a coward running for his miserable life. Bang. Bang, gunfire exploded behind him. Marcus and the sniper were still holding off the remaining officers. They'd bought him time, but Malik knew they couldn't fight forever. He had to end this. Dunham cut through a narrow alley, knocking over trash cans in a desperate attempt to slow Malik down. It didn't work. Malik leaped over the obstacles, gaining ground fast. Dunham reached the end of the alley and burst into an open street, nearly getting hit by a passing car. The driver slammed on the brakes and honked, but Dunham didn't stop. He sprinted toward an abandoned warehouse at the edge of town. Malik gritted his teeth. He knew this place, old meatpacking plant, no cameras, no witnesses. Dunham was leading him into a trap. Malik smiled. Good. He chased the cop inside. The building was dark, the air thick with the stench of rust and mold. Machines stood like skeletal remains, long abandoned. The sound of Dunham's ragged breathing echoed through the vast space. Malik slowed his steps. He listened. Dunham was trying to hide, trying to catch his breath. "Come out, Dunham," Malik called, his voice calm. "You and I both know how this ends." Silence. Then, crack, Malik spun just as a bullet whizzed past his head, slamming into a rusted beam behind him. Dunham was perched on an upper walkway, aiming down with his service pistol. Malik dove for cover behind an overturned metal table. Bang. Bang, more shots rang out, sparks flying as bullets ricocheted off the machinery. Malik's pulse steadied. He peeked around the edge of his cover, mapping the high ground. Dunham had the advantage for now. Time to change that. Malik fired 3 quick shots, forcing Dunham to duck. Then, without hesitation, he sprinted toward a ladder on the side of the plant, climbing fast. Dunham heard the movement and panicked. He fired wildly, but Malik kept moving. The moment Malik reached the top, he rolled onto the walkway and came up with his gun aimed. Dunham was backing away, his hands shaking. "Why, you don't want to do this," Dunham stammered. Malik took a slow step forward. "Give me one reason why I shouldn't." Dunham licked his lips. "You shoot me, every cop in Jackson will hunt you down." Malik smirked. "They already are." Dunham's face twisted in rage. "You think you're some kind of hero? Some righteous avenger?" He spat blood onto the floor. "You're just another thug." Malik cocked his head. "Funny. I was thinking the same thing about you." Dunham snarled and went for his gun. Malik fired first. The bullet struck Dunham in the shoulder, spinning him around. He screamed, stumbling backward, his foot catching on the railing. For a split second, he teetered on the edge, then he fell, his body crashed through a stack of wooden crates, sending dust and debris flying. Malik stood over the broken cop, watching as Dunham groaned in agony, clutching his shattered shoulder. "You're done," Malik said. Dunham coughed, blood on his lips. But then, sirens. The rest of the police were closing in. Malik had to move, but not before making sure Dunham would never forget this night. He crouched down, gripping the cop's jaw, forcing him to look into his eyes. "This ain't over," Malik whispered. "Not by a long shot." Then he vanished into the shadows. As the sirens wailed, Malik disappeared into the night, but he wasn't running, he was preparing for war. Malik moved like a ghost through the backstreets of Jackson, his mind racing. The fight at Marcus's apartment. The gun battle. The chase through the warehouse. He had humiliated Dunham, but the war was far from over. The cops would be coming for him. Hard, he needed to disappear, at least for now. His first priority was his mother. Ethel was still with Marcus, but staying in one place was too dangerous. If the cops got their hands on her, they'd use her against him. He pulled out a burner phone and dialed. Marcus picked up on the first ring. "Tell me you got that bastard." Malik exhaled. "He's alive. But I made sure he won't be coming after us anytime soon." "Yeah, well, we got bigger problems. The whole damn city's crawling with cops looking for you. And I just intercepted a message over the scanner. You're officially the most wanted man in Jackson." Malik clenched his jaw. "How's my mother?" "She's fine. But we gotta move." "I'm coming to get her," Malik said. "That's a bad idea." "I don't care." Marcus sighed. "Then make it fast." Malik ditched the phone and took a stolen car from an alley, an old sedan, nothing flashy. He kept to the back roads, avoiding police checkpoints. Helicopters buzzed overhead, searchlights sweeping the streets. The city was in lockdown. When he reached Marcus's safe house, he parked a block away and approached cautiously. He knocked twice on the back door, his signal. Marcus opened up, shotgun in hand. "Took you long enough." Malik stepped inside. Ethel rushed to him, wrapping her arms around his neck. "Baby, I was so scared." He hugged her tightly. "I got you, Ma. I won't let them touch you again." She pulled back, looking him over. "You're hurt." "I'm fine," he lied. Marcus shut the door. "We can't stay here. Cops will sweep this area soon." Malik nodded. "I need to get my mother out of town." Marcus shook his head. "That ain't gonna happen. Every road's got a checkpoint. The only way out is through them." Malik's mind worked fast. "Then we're gonna blow right through." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You serious?" Malik's expression was cold. "I'm done running. Time to send a message." Marcus smirked. "Now you're talking." The escape plan. They spent the next hour gearing up. Malik loaded magazines. Marcus prepped explosives. They had one shot to get Ethel out before the city became a war zone. The plan was simple. Marcus would cause a distraction on the east side of town, drawing police away. Meanwhile, Malik would drive Ethel to the West Highway, hitting a checkpoint at full speed. If they timed it right, they'd be gone before the cops could react. Ethel was nervous. "This is crazy." Malik kissed her forehead. "Trust me, Ma. I'll get you out." The assault begins. At exactly midnight, an explosion rocked the east side of Jackson. Fire lit up the night sky as Marcus detonated a car bomb near a police precinct. Pandemonium. Squad cars peeled away from their posts, sirens wailing. It was time. Malik slammed the car into gear and sped toward the checkpoint. the barricade was manned by 6 officers, all on edge. They had rifles, but they weren't expecting a direct assault. As Malik's car roared closer, the cops raised their weapons, stopped the vehicle. Malik didn't. Instead, he leaned out the window with a rifle and opened fire. Bang! 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 One officer dropped. The others scrambled for cover, then, crash, Malik plowed through the barricade, sending wooden barriers flying. Bullets slammed into the car. Shattering the windshield, Ethel screamed. Malik kept driving, but then, more sirens. A police SUV screeched into the road ahead, blocking their path. Malik gritted his teeth. "Hold on, Ma." He yanked the wheel hard, sending the car into a violent skid. The back end clipped the police SUV, spinning them out of control. They crashed into a ditch, airbags deployed. Malik shook his head, dazed. Ethel groaned beside him. The sound of boots crunching gravel filled the air. Cops were closing in. Malik reached for his rifle. He wasn't going down without a fight. Malik's vision blurred as he forced himself upright, shaking off the crash's impact. His mother groaned beside him, struggling against the seatbelt. The sound of approaching footsteps sent a bolt of urgency through his body. The cops were coming. He grabbed his rifle from the shattered windshield and checked the magazine. Half full. Not ideal, but enough to make a statement. Ethel's panicked eyes locked onto his. "Baby, we have to run." Malik clenched his jaw. No more running. Outside, the police fanned out, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. A voice barked over a megaphone. "Malik Johnson, step out of the vehicle with your hands up. You're surrounded." Malik exhaled sharply. His mind raced. There were at least 10 officers closing in. All armed. All ready to kill him. He had to make a choice, fight or surrender. Ethel's trembling fingers touched his arm. "Please, son." Malik reached into his pocket and handed her a small key. "Get to the cabin. Marcus knows where." Her eyes widened. "What about you?" Malik's expression hardened. "I'll catch up." Before she could argue, he kicked open the door and rolled out. Bang! 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 Gunfire erupted immediately, bullets shredding the car. Malik hit the ground and sprinted for cover, diving behind a concrete barrier. He returned fire, dropping one officer before ducking back down. "He's resisting. Take him down." Malik smirked. "You're damn right I'm resisting." Another cop rushed forward. Malik took him out with a clean headshot. The night air was thick with the scent of gunpowder and burning rubber. Sirens wailed in the distance. Reinforcements were coming. Malik was running out of time. He heard a familiar voice over the police radio. "Dunham, hold your fire." Dunham snarled. "I want him alive." Malik gritted his teeth. That racist bastard. Dunham wasn't here for justice. This was personal. Malik reloaded, his movements precise. Years of military training had honed his instincts, and he would need every ounce of skill to make it out of this. A cop tried to flank him. Malik caught the movement and fired, hitting the officer in the leg. The man screamed, collapsing. Then, boom, a flashbang detonated nearby. The explosion of light and sound disoriented Malik, making his ears ring. Footsteps pounded toward him. He barely had time to react before a rifle butt slammed into his stomach, knocking the air from his lungs. Malik crumpled, gasping. Boots stomped down on his back, pinning him to the ground. Handcuffs clicked around his wrists, and then, Dunham's face loomed over him, bloodied, bruised, but smiling. "Gotcha," Dunham sneered. Malik struggled, but the officers held him down. Dunham crouched beside him, his breath reeking of whiskey and hate. "You think this is over, boy?" he whispered. "You have no idea what's coming next." Malik's eyes burned with fury, but he stayed silent. Dunham grinned wider. "Take him in." Malik was hauled to his feet, guns pressed into his back. As they dragged him toward a waiting squad car, one thought burned in his mind: this isn't over. Malik sat in the back of the squad car, his wrists burning from the too tight handcuffs. His body ached from the fight, but his mind was clear. Focused. Dunham had made a mistake. He thought this was the end. It wasn't. As the car sped through the dark streets of Jackson, Malik glanced out the window. "Where's Marcus?" He knew his friend wouldn't leave him behind. Marcus was planning something. He just had to be ready when the moment came. Dunham sat in the passenger seat, turning to smirk at him. You thought you were some kind of hero, huh? Taking on the law. Malik didn't answer. Dunham chuckled. Boy, you got no idea how deep this goes. I could kill you right now, dump your body in a ditch. And say you tried to escape. Nobody would blink. Malik met his gaze, his voice steady. You sure about that? Dunham's smile faltered, then, boom, an explosion rocked the road ahead. The police car skidded violently as fire engulfed a nearby intersection. The driver cursed, yanking the wheel to avoid the blast. Gunfire erupted from the shadows. Malik's heart pounded. Marcus, the officer driving, reached for his radio. We're under Ada. Bang, a bullet shattered the windshield, taking him out instantly. The car spun out of control, slamming into a streetlight. Malik's head slammed against the window. Stars danced in his vision. He groaned, shaking off the daze. Move. The driver was dead. The other officer in the back seat was out cold. But Dunham, he was still alive, struggling with his seatbelt. Malik kicked the door open and dove out. Bang. Bang, bullets whizzed past him. From the alleyway, Marcus was laying down cover fire, shouting, "Move, man." Malik sprinted toward him. His hands were still cuffed, but that didn't slow him down. Dunham roared in rage behind him. Stop him. More sirens. More cops coming. Malik reached Marcus, who immediately pulled out a key and unlocked the cuffs. Malik grabbed a gun from Marcus's vest. Took you long enough. Marcus grinned. Had to make an entrance. A police SUV screeched to a halt nearby. Officers pouring out, rifles raised, weapons down. Malik didn't even hesitate. Bang. Bang. Bang, he and Marcus unleashed a storm of gunfire. Officers dove for cover as bullets ripped through the night. One cop tried to flank them. Malik took him out with a headshot. Another rushed forward. Marcus dropped him with 2 shots to the chest. Then, Dunham emerged, face twisted in fury, shotgun in hand. He leveled it at Malik. Die, boy. Boom, Malik dodged, the blast grazing his shoulder. Pain flared, but he ignored it. He raised his pistol. Click, empty. Dunham grinned, stepping closer. Out of bullets. Too bad. Marcus raised his rifle. Bang, Dunham shot first. Marcus fell. Malik's world slowed. His best friend, his brother, collapsed, blood spreading across his chest. Rage unlike anything he'd ever felt surged through Malik's veins. Dunham smirked. One down. Now, your turn. Malik's hands curled into fists. Not today. Dunham fired. Malik charged. He dodged left, closing the distance before Dunham could fire again. Then, crack, he slammed his fist into Dunham's face. The cop stumbled, but Malik wasn't done. Crack. Crack, a brutal combo to the ribs. Dunham gasped, dropping his shotgun. Malik grabbed him by the collar, lifting him off his feet. Fear flickered in Dunham's eyes. This is for my mother, Malik growled. He drove Dunham's head into a brick wall. Smash, Dunham crumpled, bloodied and broken. Malik stepped back, breathing hard. More sirens. More cops. Marcus groaned on the ground. Go, man. Malik shook his head. Not without you. He grabbed Marcus, hauling him up. They stumbled toward a waiting car, a stolen police cruiser Marcus had hotwired earlier. They climbed in. Malik floored it. As they sped into the night, Malik glanced in the rearview mirror. Dunham lay in the street, barely moving, but he wasn't dead. Not yet. Malik gripped the wheel. He wasn't finished. Not until justice was served. For his mother. For Marcus. For every black person who had ever suffered in the hand of monster like Dunham. Wow. What a story. Justice was served, but at what cost? Malik fought back, but the scars of that night would never fade. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about standing up against injustice, no matter the odds. Now, I want to hear from you. What would you have done in Malik's shoes? Do you think he made the right choice, or would you have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more powerful stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps bring these stories to life. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and keep the conversation going.